I want to move into the third section. I didn't give you an outline for this one, but if I had, this would be the third section. First section, nature of legend. Second section, historical background. And the third section of this lecture is, once again, and I'm going to be doing this in all of the tapes, a brief overview of the content and the structure of the portion of reading we're doing for today. And as I said, this is the story of the ancient ancestors of Israel. And I gave you that threefold name, which is Yahweh's self-identification when he appeared to Moses at the burning bush, and they are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And before I give you kind of the literary structure of Genesis 12 through 50, I want to first give you the family structure. It's very hard to tell what's going on without this kind of a program here. Abraham, Isaac is his son. Isaac, Jacob is his son. Abraham is married to Sarah. Now these two figures, in fact quite a few of the figures in the ancestral stories, have name changes, and the name changes are usually associated with some appearance of God to them or some promise of God to them. Abram is called at the beginning stories, Abraham is called at the beginning stories Abram. Sarah is called in some of the earlier stories Sarai. And there are some theories about why these names changed and how the meaning changes, but they're not exactly clear, and I'm not too concerned about that now. Abraham and Sarah were not able to have children for many years, as you will read, and so Abraham takes on another woman, Hagar. And Hagar and Abraham also have a child, and his name is Ishmael, I-S-H-M-A-E-L. And notice I wrote him smaller, because one of the things, and I'll talk about this in a few moments, one of the things that's going to be important for us is to trace how the promise that God made for Abraham is passed down from generation to generation. And as we will see, the promise comes to be passed down not through Abraham and Hagar, Ishmael, but rather through Abraham and Sarah, when they give birth in their old age to Isaac. Isaac marries Rebecca, sometimes spelled with a K. And they have two children. They, in fact, have twin children, Jacob and Esau. And I'm going to put in parentheses the places where there's not a passing down of the promise. And Esau does not get the promise, but Jacob does. And remember I told you that Jacob lied and stole and cheated all his life. Well, he cheats his father out of giving the birthright to Esau, who is in fact the oldest. They're twins, but one of them has to be born first. And then he cheats Esau a little bit later. And that's the story of his life. So it passes down from Abraham and Sarah to Isaac, from Isaac and Rebekah to Jacob. Jacob has 4 wives, 2 wives and 2 what I've been calling mistresses or concubines or lower status wives is probably what it really means. Leah and Rachel, who are sisters, they both marry him. Leah's the older, Rachel the younger. Jacob does not love Leah. He does love Rachel. I don't believe I've assigned much of this story, so you could review it at your leisure. And then each of them has what's called a handmaid, a personal servant, and they enter into a contractual relationship with Jacob as a lesser status wife. And out of these 4 women, Jacob has 12 sons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I will not trouble you with all of their names. A few of the significant ones we'll cover in class. The 12 sons of Jacob, and this is an oversimplification, but I could explain it in more detail if you desire me to. The 12 sons of Jacob, the names of the 12 sons of Jacob, correspond with the 12 tribes of Israel. And Israel has traditionally been broken up into 12 different tribes, although the way it's divided differs from list to list. So, for instance, remember we went over geography and I talked about the southern part of the land of Palestine is known as the tribe of Judah. And that's the territory inhabited by the tribe of Judah. Judah, by the way, is the tribe that David belonged to. Well, Judah is the third oldest son. So anyway, what we have here is, and I'm going to introduce a term and just kind of dump it on you because it is rather important and is the only way to describe what's going on here. Jacob and his 12 sons are, and this is the term, eponymous ancestors of Israel. You could perhaps see the root in here, NYM, which is the same as the English word name. And what this means is that the names of the eponymous ancestors correspond with actual political or cultural entities within the nation as it existed when they told these stories. Now, you could see that about the 12 tribes. Because I already told you that there's a tribe of Judah, there's a son Judah, there's a tribe Levi, there's a son Levi, there's a tribe Reuben, there's a son Reuben, on and on and on. But what about Jacob? What is Jacob named after? Well, if you read Genesis 32, which I do not believe I've assigned, the syllabus is the final authority on that, not my memory. Jacob's name is changed in Genesis 32 after he wrestles with Yahweh, and his name is changed to Israel. So what do we have? Israel has 12 sons. The nation of Israel has 12 tribes. And that's what we mean by the eponymous ancestors. So what we have are these three ancestors with their corresponding wives, women, concubines, mistresses, whatever you want to call them. And this group, as it grows, and we'll talk about this a little bit in the third tape, will constitute the nation of Israel. This is where Israel started. When we talk about George Washington being the father of our country, we don't mean that literally. We don't mean that every single person who self-identifies as an American, as a citizen of the United States, actually can trace their lineage back to George Washington. That's not what we mean. However, when we talk about Abraham and Isaac and Jacob being the eponymous ancestors of Israel, what we mean is that they do, in the story, in the narrative, constitute the actual genetic forebears of the nation of Israel.